The present video is the last video in the series of videos on diodes. This video is in the area of optoelectronic devices, which are also sometimes called as photonic devices. Basically there are four groups of such devices which are being considered here. Are the first is here is LEDs and the laser diodes. These are the two coming in the same category, and the other category is on the photodetectors and the solar cells. So we'll talk each of these devices separately, and we'll try to give the overview of these devices, trying to give most of the underlying concepts and different terms which have been used here. Okay, so we'll start with the devices like the first one here is the light emitting diode. Is the first device which we are considering here. LEDs. These LEDs basically light emitting diodes are the devices which convert the electrical energy into the light energy, and so LEDs as well as lasers come under this category. The LEDs here, the symbol is indicated here. This is anode and this is a cathode. Is simple diode, and the arrows here indicate that these diodes are emitting lights. So these diodes give visible light when they are forward biased, and the visible light is in the range of 0.4 micrometer to 0.7 micrometer, and the material which is used here mostly is of the direct band gap type of material. Direct band gap type of material is the material where the momentum of the electrons and the holes remains the same in both the conduction and the valence bands, and they can directly emit the photons. Here the recombination of carriers gives the light. Since it comes in the light spectrum, so it is able to emit the light, but the normal diodes, this recombination gives energy in the form of a heat. But these diodes have to be forward biased to sustain the recombination, and then only they can work continuously to give light. They have to be forward biased to sustain recombination, and so there is a spontaneous emission. That means whenever the energy of the electron, energy of the carrier has increased, and they have gone from the valence band to conduction band, the emission which occurs in these is a spontaneous emission. It's a kind of a random emission that occurs in these diodes. These LEDs find applications with the pilot light and in the area of fiber optic communication. Then the variation to this LEDs is the LCDs, liquid crystal displays. They have the same principles, but the material used here is the liquid crystal, and notice here these displays do not generate light. They are either reflecting the light or transmitting the light. So that is why their power consumption is very low consumption, and this indicates here this consumption is about 10 to 15 microwatt per 7-segment display. This is a very low power. Decay time is very high for these displays, so you can sometimes even seeing the monitors, you will see that decay of the display which is taking place for the LCDs. Human eye can detect these LCD fading, so they find application in LCD displays and also in LCD monitors. These are the applications for this. The other diode in this category is the laser diode. Basically, laser diode, there is an acronym for this, that is the full name is derived from light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. The laser is the short term of this acronym, and these lasers use direct band gap materials, and there is a stimulated emission takes place here. Stimulated emissions means these atoms are to be stimulated, and so that continuous emission takes place. Otherwise it would be only spontaneous emission. And there is a principle of population inversion. That means unless there is a population inversion, this emission will not take place. In population inversion, the atoms from the lower energy level are given energy to give to higher energy level, and so that their population is inverted. Normally the lower energy level has more electrons, more carriers as compared to high energy level, so the population inversion has to take place. Power for these diodes typically is about 30 few tens of milliwatts. Efficiency for these diodes about 30%. The sources are monochromatic in nature. Monochromatic means they have the single frequency, or I would say they have the single wavelength, and they have a coherent light. That means the light which comes out is in phase, and it is of reinforcing type. So that is these two terms are very common with monochromatic and coherent, and you should know the difference between them. And these are one of the very cost-effective sources of lasers. Normally lasers have been very costly and with their related power supplies, but these diodes have been very cost-effective. Now they find application of CDs and DVD drives. They can find application of video recording, and for high-speed laser printing is another applications for these diodes. Now we go over to the other two categories of the photo diodes. The two categories here are one is a photodiode, and another is a solar cell. This is a photodiode. This photodiode, this symbol is indicated here for the photodiode. I would say these photodiodes, the symbol here is the diode with the this two arrows coming inside. That means the light or photons are falling on the diode. The earlier devices were emitting the photons. Now they are taking the photons and giving the electrical energy. So PN junction diodes here are reverse bias diodes. This device, as I said, converts optical signals into electrical signals. It's opposite to LEDs and the lasers. And these photodiodes are either of PN, PIN, or avalanche photodiodes. PIN photodiodes extend depletion layer width. They have extended depletion layer width because of the eye region. And 4 photocarriers in the depletion layer, smaller. They have their photocarriers are in the depletion layer and the smaller junction capacitance because of wider depletion width. These PIN photodiodes are more expensive to make, and bandwidth is low in this case. Now, avalanche photodiodes, they are operated on the reverse fast. They use either silicon or indium gallium arsenide. Silicon is having the such diodes have the moderate speed avalanche photodiode, but indium gallium arsenide, they are used for high speed. Since they are avalanche photodiodes, they require higher reverse bias, and they are more sensitive to PIN photodiodes. They also give the avalanche photodiodes, because of the principle of avalanche multiplication, they also give the gain. They also give the current gain, or the gain of the photo multiplication process. Okay, now we come to the last topic here, that is on the solar cells. Solar cells mostly are forward biased, and they work on the photovoltaic principle. Silicon and other compound semiconductors normally are used. Please notice here that IV curve of this solar cell is passing through the 4th quadrant, and so this power can be extracted from these diodes. So far, whatever diodes we have said, they need some energy, but these solar cells can give the energy. Power can be extracted from them. Some typical pulse cell solar cells have efficiency of about 24%, tandem cells about 30%, and the silicon cell, the normal silicon cell, has an efficiency of about 5%. Applications or uses of these solar cells are, they find long duration power supply for the satellites, because satellites have to be there for a longer period in the space. They need power supply, so solar cells are the best power supply. Now the other very important application for the solar cells is they are non-polluting power. They give a non-polluting power at low operating cost. Non-polluting power because there is nothing which pollutes the environment, and its operating cost is low, although initial installation cost is high, but their operating cost is relatively low. So there is a lot of research is going on solar cells, and maybe one day we will find that electrical power generation is mostly done by the solar cells. Thank you.